Premier Media's Mining Weekly is interviewing Heraeus Walter, the Executive Vice President, New Business of Heraeus Precious Metals. We're speaking to Heraeus on the vexing question of whether or not there's enough iridium for the proposed big scale-up of green hydrogen generation through proton exchange membrane or PEM electrolysis. Philip, it's great to chat to you once again. South Africans, as producers of platinum group metals, are very conscious that iridium is a very scarce platinum group metal. How much iridium is available for green hydrogen generated by means of PEM electrolysis?
So it's a very valid question, how much iridium is available for green hydrogen. As you know, and that's in the news, I think we are talking about generally 8 to 9 metric tons of iridium being mined every year. However, this iridium, of course, is not only used for PEM electrolysis. Actually, the majority currently is used for other applications. So like spark plugs, like crucibles, like catalysts for chemical processes, like acetic acid production. And based on our own calculations, and of course, these are more assumptions and conclusions from a certain understanding of the market, we think that maximum around 1.5 to 2 metric tons of iridium from primary supply is available per year, which can end up in PEM electrolyzers for the production of hydrogen.
And what needs to happen to ensure the growth of PEM electrolysis?
Yeah, certainly, I think iridium is pivotal for every PEM electrolyzer. To replace iridium is not easy. In academia, there are a lot of approaches on its way, but for the time being, iridium is set for the PEM electrolysis. But I think it's not optimized. The use of iridium in PEM electrolyzers is not optimized yet, and there is a lot going on. Currently, we are talking about around 0.4 grams of iridium per kilowatt. And in order to allow the iridium demand to be sufficient to accompany this hyperscaling of hydrogen, the hyperscaling of PEM electrolysis, thrifting needs to happen, not only on the catalyst side, but also in the overall system side. And we see a lot of signs that there is really a great reduction of iridium in PEM electrolyzers ongoing right now.
That's fantastic. And what about partial substitution with other precious metals such as ruthenium? Is this promising?
This is a holy grail, and there's a lot going on to actually substitute iridium, first of all, through a respective catalyst concept. And I mentioned 0.3 to 0.4 grams per kilowatt are used currently when using iridium black or iridium dioxide as a catalyst. With Heraeus new developments, we are already down at 0.08 to 0.1 grams per kilowatt. And now talking about ruthenium and mixed oxide, that's a concept we are following, and we have some promising signs that this actually could end up in a significantly reduced use of iridium. It's still under development. Loadings below 0.08 grams per kilowatt, I think, will be doable. Of course, it's not there tomorrow, but maybe in the next few years.
And what will that mean for PEM electrolysis and its growth?
So there are two main topics, I think, for the PEM electrolysis. One is thrifting of iridium, and of course that you will achieve by reducing the iridium used or by replacing iridium with ruthenium in your catalyst to a certain extent. And on top, ruthenium is not as expensive as iridium. It's cheaper, so you have a cost advantage by changing from a pure iridium to a iridium ruthenium mixed oxide catalyst.
Now, I need to know more about this polyfluoral alkyl substance and why people are wanting to ban this. It seems that the PFAS is facing a potential ban. Why is that?
Yeah, that is a good question. So Heraeus is not producing PFAS, but of course PFAS is, we know about PFAS. PFAS. It's also called PFAS, and PFAS is actually a group of perfluorinated hydrocarbons, and this also includes fluoropolymers. So in total, we are talking about 14,000 substances, and probably some of them are toxic, and you don't want to have them, but a lot of them, if not the majority, are less critical simply since they are not toxic. For example, talking about Teflon and fluoropolymers, which are also used in form of PFSA in PEM electrolyzers, these are actually polymeric substances, fluoropolymers, which are substances of low, if not no concern to the best of our understanding. And of course, a potential ban would have an impact on the hydrogen economy in total. However, I think the politics as well as all the industry associations are clarifying this difference between PFAS as a huge group of substances and those which you don't want and those you want, like the fluoropolymers.
And how are they used in the PEM electrolysis? What part of the electrolyzer does PFAS play a role in?
PFAS has always a very negative meaning, and it's huge. Chemically, it's a huge group of substances. So there are PFAS, which I would refer to as low molecular weight substances. Talking about fluoropolymers, they are basically used in as membrane materials, as ionomass, where the catalyst, the precious metal is coated onto.
And do you think it could be an impediment if all electrolyzers are using PFAS materials in some way or some form or another? Could some materials be banned, others unbanned? And how will the world electrolyze, no matter what system they use, if they continue to just ban PFAS materials as a whole?
Yeah, so let's talk about fluoropolymers. Fluoropolymers are pivotal for the hydrogen economy in all kinds of applications, in all kinds of electrolyzers or fuel cells. And of course, banning these fluoropolymers would have a very strong impact on the hydrogen economy, but actually on the total daily life. So currently, I think there is a lot of debate within politics, within the governments, on how to come to a differentiated view on this group of PFAS molecules.
And getting back to PEM electrolysis, why should the world go for PEM electrolysis and not other ways of electrolyzing water?
The PEM electrolysis has distinct advantages when dealing with renewable energy. In total, there are maybe 4 dominant technologies. You have the alkaline electrolysis, which is a very mature technology. You have PEM electrolysis, which is just actually in the process of scaling up and has advantages when it comes to renewable energy sources, because it can react more dynamically, more quickly to certain on-off scenarios. You have the high temperature electrolysis, where you need certain process heat to make it economically viable. It's more a niche application in our opinion. And last but not least, you have the anion exchange membrane electrolysis, which is certainly tries to combine advantages of the alkaline electrolysis and the advantages of the PEM electrolysis. And this technology is, however, even newer and has not been demonstrated being viable in the gigawatt scale. So maybe in the future, this will also come into play, but for the time being, we end up with 2 main technologies, which is the alkaline electrolysis and the PEM electrolysis.
And as things happen now, is it all talk about electrolysis and no action, or are we seeing electrolysis actually being implemented?
Yeah, absolutely. We see electrolysis implemented. I just read an article on Evonik and Siemens actually establishing electrolyzer at an Evonik site for the production of green hydrogen for the chemical process for some of the molecules of Evonik.
And does it look like PEM is going to be the electrolysis means of choice, or does it look like it will take a share of the market, but a smaller share than maybe would be good for platinum world?
Based on the know-how we have, based on data from Hydrogen Council, from McKinsey, from certain experts, we see an announced capacity right now of roughly 170 gigawatt electrolyzer capacity in total globally, and 40%, something between 30 and 40% is currently assumed to be a PEM electrolysis until 2030.
And then with the actual use of platinum group metals across the board, we produce hydrogen, and then you need to convert that hydrogen, or you maybe want to transport vehicles using the hydrogen. What sort of uptake is that having in your view? Are people going for hydrogen for mobility, or is it more for big industries and hard to abate sectors?
In my view, I think the mobility is also on its way. Yeah, targeting first of all heavy duty applications where battery electric vehicles are less of an option, and when a certain infrastructure is established, when a certain economy of scale has been reached also for fuel cells, I think there will also be a certain share in the passenger car arena, but it will take a while until it's cost-wise competitive with battery electric vehicles.
And so are you seeing it now, or is it just a vision?
No. Yeah, of course, we see it already now in the heavy duty arena in China as well as other parts of the world. And to give you an example, in Germany, I think the BMW is bringing an X5 series into the market with a fuel cell stack.
And what, in your view, should be the biggest takeaway from this interview?
Yeah. I think PEM electrolysis with platinum group metals is a competitive technology which will make its way in PEM electrolysis, in the hydrogen production, as well as in mobility.
That was Creamer Media's Mining Weekly, speaking to Philip Walter, the Executive Vice President, New Business of Heraeus Precious Metals.